Hey friends, Rob here. Today I want to bring you something else, a little bit of fun. You might not be used to this on the channel, but you know from time to time I like to bring you something a little bit different. So we're kind of set up a little bit different here. Today we're going to be talking about this Cort guitar that I picked up recently for some gigs I've got down at the ocean front. Lots of fun going on with that. If you like anything that you see here, if you find this information helpful, please don't forget to use the Amazon links down below. Support the channel with just your patronage. You won't pay more, but I'll get a little kickback and it'll help me create more content for you. Man, it has been a busy summer so far with lots of weddings, lots of gigs and things like that. If you guys don't know about Chris West, check it out. I'll leave a link down below. It's something fun that we've added new for 2022. And hence the reason to have this beautiful solid mahogany guitar from Cort Guitars. I picked this up at a local guitar center and I'm actually taking it back. And I want to share with you some of the reasons why I'm taking it back, but I'm also going to tell you I like it enough that I'm going to give them another shot and try to get another one as well. Now, I got this one brand new in the box unsealed after seeing the floor units and the demos. This particular series of guitars that they have is the Core series. This is the OC, which is like an orchestral model guitar, and it's kind of big. It's bigger than the Taylor GT. It's smaller than a Grand Acoustic, or a Grand Auditorium, I should say. Let's talk about where this sits in the line. I'm trying to get back so you can see the whole guitar at one time. The line itself has all solid construction, and you can have a solid mahogany like this one, which is solid mahogany, top, back, and sides, which is beautiful. You can also pick up a spruce top, which has been toned with a transitive black stain, which is really nice, which is spruce, and then mahogany back and sides, but it looks black. And then they actually have a blackwood. The blackwood is a Tasmanian blackwood or Australian blackwood. It could also be African blackwood. I don't know which one it is, but it's blackwood top, back, and sides. And they have some really interesting striations. This one, of course, is like a tobacco color with their light burst, their open pore light burst finish, which I really like. You can see that all around here. Very pretty. The blackwood one actually has almost a reddish color, and some of the tops have some nice sapwood that goes down the center. And then, of course, the spruce top is just a black spruce top, but it's got a little bit of the wood grain that you can see through, so it's not exactly a black top guitar. It's just kind of stained that way. So it's a really interesting thing. Out of all the guitars, all of these are solid wood. Of course, this one is the most compressed when I tested all of them at my local guitar center. The blackwood was the most jangly, with the spruce one being kind of in the middle. I felt like this guitar really filled out some spaces for my voice and gave my voice a spot to project, something like you might like for recording, or if you want to have a little bit more emphasis on your voice. If your voice doesn't fill out very well and you need something to kind of pick up some other tones, that's what the whole purpose of using the tone woods are all about. So check out the other ones. I really enjoyed the models all together. Of course, it's got an Ovancall fretboard as well as saddle or bridge, and then it's got a bone nut and saddle on both ends. I don't think that there's really anything particularly wrong with this series of guitars. I'm not very familiar with Cort, and I want to share with you why I'm returning this, but there's actually only one reason that I'm returning this. This is around a $600 guitar with the blackwood model going up to about $700. You can find them on sale at Guitar Center or some other places for a little bit less from time to time. I actually got this guitar for a trade-in on an electric guitar that I had, so I just traded it in an electric guitar that I wasn't playing and picked this model up. I wanted it because I wanted something other than my much, much more expensive guitars to play down at gigs where I'm doing solos and acoustic hours when the weather may not be what I want it to be. So if it's a chance of raining or a squall might come through, I'd rather take this than something else. But I also wanted something that was all solid wood construction, because that does make a difference. But really, a solid top makes a lot more difference than layered or laminate back and sides, especially if you have really nice laminate that's actual wood and not a composite material. That's been my experience. Your experience may vary. I'm going to play this a little bit later, but as I play it, I just want to share with you that I'm sharing with you why I got it and why I'm returning it and hoping to get another one. Your mileage may vary, okay? So let's talk about what was wrong with it. We'll get straight down to the first part. I'm returning it because, I don't know if you can see, but you can see right here, maybe even right there, that there is a lift, a gap, right, where the bridge is actually not glued all the way to the top. That's why I'm returning it, okay? This is an open pore top and a light finish, which means that as the guitar was glued on, there's no finish to go over top of it and seal that gap for the bridge, nothing like that, so I was able to see it. This is not something that you'd normally find on properly built guitars or whatever. This is just evidence of a problem that is larger on this particular model. Now, your mileage may vary on your model. I want to stress that this is this particular model. And I didn't find this until something else. I didn't really see that until later because honestly, I just didn't check. And I got it new in the box and I've had it for 3 or 4 days, been playing it, letting it come in, getting ready to do a setup, and I begin doing a lot of these checks and I find this stuff. So the first thing that I saw, completely not important, there's a spot where the finish isn't really correct. You can kind of see it right there. That's on the lower belt saddle in the waist, excuse me, in the waist right there. So no big deal, but this is going to be your first inclination at what's the difference between like a handmade or a more expensive guitar when they're using all the same tone woods and things like that. Construction. Now inside I've had a look around, it looks nice and tidy. I did put a mirror in and kind of look underneath, and it looks like the bracings have a little bit of squeeze out on the top, but not much. Things look to be pretty nice on the inside, so I was okay. So all good from the inside, outside, nice looking tidy. But I saw this and that was kind of indicative of something, and then I was looking around and I was like, well, there's also a mark there. Yeah, okay, well that doesn't really matter. This is not any reason I would ever return this guitar. For $600, it may be a reason you might return the guitar, but not for me, not for what I wanted to use it for. But $600 is a lot of money, and if you bought this guitar for $600, I'm sure you would want it to be pristine. So this has to do with finishing, right? Okay, great. So as we look and we go on through, there's actually a couple of interesting little upgrades, but before we talk about those, I'll finish telling you the fretboard was nice, but then I get up to the nut, and I don't know if you can see it, but the nut's just not cut right. Okay, it's too short. All right, no problem. It's too short, and you can actually see a little bit of the underlayment wood from the neck right there. And I don't know how well it's coming across, but it's about 1/2 millimeter too short, enough for you to see that. Does it affect playability? Not necessarily. It just means that the nut wasn't placed properly. All right. Speaking of the nut, it's a bone nut, which is really nice, but also it's got the issue that most do. The nut slots are cut way too deep. The action is fine up here. After I've set it up, I started with a truss rod, got the truss rod nice and straight. But you could actually do a little bit of polishing. They're not wide enough, so sometimes when you tune, you get that little pink, pink. I've gone ahead and fixed that, and they're not pink, pinking so much anymore, but you know, it's an issue. If you've got a new guitar and you're having a problem keeping it in tune, and you're hearing that issue, it means that your nut slots are not wide enough and that the string is getting caught up, the coils are getting caught up on the front edge of the nut. And the nut is the 0 fret for your scale, so it's extremely important. However, has this affected the tone or anything? No, I think it stays in tune. I think from playing it and everything fine. And the tuners, actually, I like them quite a bit. They seem to be really nice. Although I'm branded, I do like the upgrade to the metal because it makes them feel cool and cold and dense and adds a little bit of weight. Speaking of weight, the entire guitar is very, very light, much lighter than what you might expect. And I think that adds just a little bit to some of this particular guitar's Mahogany, its jangly sound. Now, I just like hitting an E chord from time to time. An E chord is really, really nice, and that E chord's beautiful right there. And there's a lot of jangle in it. Feeling good as we're walking back down the frets. The frets are wonderful. I think they did a great job on the frets. The fretboard is one piece. It's Ovancall, but they've actually rolled the edges of the fretboard just a little bit, and that is so nice because it gives a feeling of a rounder, not sharp. There's nothing sharp here, and they've actually stained the side of the Ovancall different than the top, which gives it the appearance of binding, which is kind of cool. Although it's not binding, it's kind of cool. There was a little bit of wandering when it comes to the side dots, but again, nothing so far has affected playability. I've seen it, I've recognized it, it just has been what it is. No problem, right? Then we get to looking at something else. I decide I'm adjusting the truss rod, and I'm looking down the guitar, and I'm realizing, oh, there's some relief, and I got to do this, that, and the other. But I start looking and thinking, man, I need some winding sticks. It feels like the fretboard is actually crooked, like it's cupped. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. So I put a straight edge on it, right? And nope, It's not cupped. It's not cupped at all. So I get to looking more, and I'm looking over, and I'm like, oh, well, obviously the bridge, you know, the bridge and the saddle may be cut different or something. And I get to looking more and more, and I'm like, wait a minute, I've seen this before. I saw some inconsistencies. And I don't know if you can tell here, but the headstock isn't cut right, okay? It's just not. And now maybe you can tell better by looking at the back. Do you see how it just didn't go through the machine correctly, or whoever was cutting it by hand just didn't? Once again, this will not affect playability, but what I'm about to show you might. The same thing with the bridge. We talked before. If you can look straight on at the bridge right here, I hope you can see. Do you notice how it's not symmetrical from side to side? It doesn't have bilateral symmetry. This bridge is very important. It's what the saddle sits in. The saddle does need to come down, so I'd bring the saddle down if I was keeping the guitar. And it'll be harder to show, but on this side, looking from here, the bridge itself, maybe I can zoom in some so you can see. Yeah, look at the difference in, I know it's not helpful right here, but the bridge itself is way weird cut. Okay, it's not symmetrical. And that made me look further to find the issue that we had here. So I don't like the way that this bridge is put together at all. You want your bridge to securely hold your saddle and your strings to the top of the guitar so that it can create the downward force, so that the top can resonate and it can be beautiful. And I probably would have kept this, weird bridge. It's not built right. It obviously didn't go through the machine correctly. Whoever was working on it didn't do it right. I probably would have kept it. Again, my use case. I've got other much nicer guitars. This was going to be the road beater. Doesn't matter. But in this instance, I'm not going to keep a guitar that, maybe I can show it better here. I just will not keep a guitar where the saddle, where the bridge, let's see if I can get that focus for you. There we go. There it is. Can you see? Where it's coming up. You can kind of see even right there, that little shadow line. You can see it right there. I just won't keep a guitar where that's coming up. Okay, now, when we want to talk about tone, kind of hard, fast strumming right there. A little bit of finger picking. I remember when I lost my mind. Something so pleasant about that place. Even my emotions had space, they had space. I was out there without care, I was out of touch. It wasn't because I didn't know enough, I just knew too much, well, too much. I might be crazy, I might be crazy, I might be crazy, probably. All right, so you've heard a little bit about the guitar. The guitar sounds great. I want to share with you that I'm taking it back for those reasons, specifically the bridge. Just got to get a new bridge. All in all, I think it's a really nice guitar. It does come with a gig bag, which is pretty cool. The gig bag is oversized. It's a one size fit all, so it's a lot bigger than what that guitar actually needs, but it's nice that you get one, so I can really enjoy it there. And I'm hoping to get another mahogany model, but if I had to pick up a blackwood, or if I got the spruce top, I'd be okay with that too, because there really are very, very nice guitars. So I'm enjoying this quite a bit. I hope that you have enjoyed checking out what we're doing today. I'm Rob. If you found any of this helpful, please leave your comments and links down below. Don't forget to use my Amazon links. I'd like to hear what you have to say. And also, if I helped you, I'd like to make a couple of dollars, help support the channel. Really appreciate it. I want to thank you for watching, and I'll give you a part 2 just as soon as I know how that one ends up. Bye for now.